Alright, so gotta start somewhere. So I will start with the aquarium. I can't even tell you what's in here, except for the fish. It's not a fully loaded aquarium with lots of plants, but it's got some. And it looks like some of them either have been eaten or they're just wearing down. It's a freshwater aquarium. At the very top, you can see it there, I've got frog bit. And theoretically, this stuff cleans the water out, like all the plants do. And then I take those, I scoop them out at least once a month, and I put those in the worm bin. I've got plants everywhere. Spider plant, pilea, I don't know. A very small Brazilian philodendron. I don't even think I want to name them all. I have over 300 plants in the house. And the goal was to make oxygen more than anything else. So I've been watching a lot of videos on the internet that talk about plants, and you see people with really nice designed houses and plants that, well, they look good where they're at. And I'm honestly just cramming a lot of plants in the house. There's a dumb cane. I'll start naming some. Calathea. There's a philodendron. This is a roja. I have a fern and a rubber tree. Another type of Calathea. I have a rack that has peperomia. An areca palm. Here is a Chinese money plant. There are more types of peperomia in the back. A money tree. I don't remember what this is. I bought it at an outdoor pond store, and it's supposed to be an edible river-based plant, and I brought it inside because it's freezing outside and the pond froze over. I got this idea from the internet. Just basically a greenhouse, and I've got lighting at the top and a heat mat on this shelf here. It's in the back. It's just a small windowsill, and then I've got little small containers of water, and then that heats up and it creates a humidity. Where are we at right now? 82%. When I open it to work on it, it drops down to 30 something. But I've got air plants in there. I have carnivorous plants in the back. They took a bite. It dried out, and so some of them look awfully dry. But there's a lot of new growth. I just have to go in and clean it out. One of the air plants here is not doing too good, but the others look really good. I've got a Cuban oregano and a Vicks plant. For some reason I don't do too good with those. I always overwater them, and that kills them right away. But in here, they're doing really good. I've got cuttings of succulents in here, a couple of leaves from peperomia, cuttings from parsley aurelia. So this is basically my propagation chamber. You can see a Hoya in the back here. This is a pregnant onion. I got watermelon, peperomia. There's more watermelon peperomia here. I don't remember what kind of peperomia this is, or pilea. It's looks like a waffle. I don't know what it's called. At the very bottom, I have some plants I'm trying to save from death, and cuttings of African violets, leaf cuttings. So coming back here again, I've got a dumb cane. This is a beautiful specimen. I fell in love with this plant when I saw it. This was I laugh because I call it my Christmas present to myself, but I'm at the plant store once or twice a week, and I buy more and more and more plants. I've got a bunch of calathea in here, figuring that they like the shade. Got a fusion, a red, I forgot what this one is called. It's like this medallion, except it's just solid red. Well, not solid red, but red. This is a calathea. I want to say swarm something AI. I am not the go-to person for the names of plants. Here I have a bunch of elephant ears. I've got 3 of them here. There's a serendipity here, a Buddha palm, and another one that I don't remember. Here's another one. This is the mask, African mask. Another calathea here. This one has the red stem, where over here hanging up next to the aquarium you can see that the variegations are white. So I like the variations of plants. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Here's a lowrider. Let's get this name. Alocasia. So that's what these are. They're alocasias. And then a tiny dancer. This one I found interesting. We're going to see how it does. It's a homolomia. Homolomia. Wow. Yes, homolomia. And apparently they're not easy to grow. I just liked it. It looks like a philodendron, but it takes more care. It's a little bit pickier, trickier. Here is my ficus grouping. One thing you'll see in my house is, just like the Aurelias and the Calatheas, they're grouped together. Because this room, you probably saw it as I passed it, there's a humidifier in the room, and so they're higher humidity plants. Plus, keeping everything together creates humidity as well. And so the plants just create their own humidity and then feed off of each other. And I like that. The ficus, this is just a Ficus benjamina, but it's variegated. These others I cannot name for you. So if you know what they are, let me know. But here's a ficus, if I can get it into focus. Focus on your ficus. I think this is a ficus here. It looks like one, so I'm going to say that it is. And here's a creeping Charlie, which is a Ficus ripens. And then here's one here. And I can't tell you what type of ficus that is. Up here on the shelf, we'll come back up here. Here is a ginseng ficus. It's got this really neat root, and it had a hole in it, and so I put a crystal in it just to give it something cool to look at if it ever stays in there. And I don't know, I think that's kind of cool to look at. Stay. Here is one of my miniature African violets. These have not come back into flower, so I keep hoping. I've got a couple of, I don't ever want to say this word wrong because it could be real bad. Paphipetalum orchid. It's the lady slipper. I've got one here and then one in the back. Another spider plant. And I'll show you how I geek out. So this spider plant, you can see the variegated line is in the center. But this one here is on the edges. So that's just how I roll. I like to play. And yeah. I entertain myself, alright? I have another creeping Charlie in the back, that Ficus rippens. I have a couple of ferns here, and you might say, wow, those ferns don't look good, and I promise they look a lot better than they did 6 months ago. This one here died back to the quick. It was all the way back to the base. I had overwatered it. This is a maidenhair, and maidenhairs are difficult. They like light and water and moisture, and the base of it needs to be cut back because I've got some dead on it, but it's actually doing really good. I had it up here, and I'm going to show you this. I had it up here, and it got a little bit sunburned. But I have ferns and African violets, and one croton. I think that's the name of this. It's got excess water. The Areca palm seems to not die when I give it lots of water. So that's what I do. So the croton, so far this is the only one I've had survive, and it's looking really good. Ferns in the back. There's a jester's crown, a rabbit's foot, a button fern, a bird's nest fern, and a stag's horn. And the stag's horn is neat. If you haven't seen these yet, it's hard for me to get back here now except to water, so forgive me. The stag's horn fern started growing a new shield in the last couple months. It had this old one, you can see there, it died back, and I thought it was just dead, and then lately this one has come in, and I'm really happy to see that. These are usually mounted. This is in a pot. I'll probably have to change its situation eventually. I want to say this is a rainbow something or other fern. It's just really cool. I like the copper colorings. Again, back here in the front, I shouldn't say in the back, I have African violets. And I lost one the other day, and that makes me sad, but these are doing really good. They're all bottom watering. And so I'll show you what I did is I basically took some wicking. The wicking is synthetic, so it doesn't rot. And water in a jelly jar, and the pots just fit perfectly. And I try to go for the African violets that have really neat, blurry, really neat colorations, because it's something to look at when they're not in bloom. You can see this one is just a little plain looking, but then this one has some beautiful colorations on the leaves, and I believe needs water. Yeah, it looks pretty dry. On this shelf, I've got a another spider plant. This is the mother of some of the others that you'll see in the house. It has these babies that trail down to here, and it's cheating. They were like this when I got it, and I just cut them and started some while they were still attached, and then cut some and tried different ways. In an earlier video on this shelf, there was a grow chamber like this big one. It was just small, and I had them in there. In the back there is some horsetail from the pond. I don't know if it'll survive, but I hope. I've got a couple of these. These are China doll. Beautiful plant. Waffle plant. In the front here is a poorly looking specimen of a devil's backbone. It just petered out, but I put it in this little glass dome and it stayed, so maybe it'll do something inside there. I hope so. We'll see. I don't remember. This is an air fern. I don't know. It likes it in here because of the moisture. Behind it is another staghorn. Instead of mounting it, it's in a clay pot, very shallow, and that's in a clay dish, and I water the dish and it wicks it up inside, and just around that I have moss, and it's trying to survive. We'll see what it does. It's not the happiest plant, but hopefully it becomes so and does better. And then this one here, again, very sparse looking, and it was down to the quick because I had pretty much killed it as well. And I put it in the grow chamber here and it came back. Here I have a pitcher plant, and then I have a peace lily, a pothos, and a couple of Hoya. I have 2 Hoya besides the one in the chamber. The one in the chamber has a pink variegation. This one has a white, and this one is just solid green. And they're doing okay up there. We'll see. We'll see if they last. Yeah, plants are not the easiest thing. They take some time to kind of get the hang of, either one plant or a lot of plants. And I choose a lot of plants. Up here, I'll go back. There's a Enjoy pothos, and I believe a golden pothos, and some moss that I have that's live. It's peat? No. Well, not peat moss, but what do you call it? Sphagnum? Is that right? And then that is a poorly looking specimen of a moss that I found in the driveway, and I just put in a chamber. This is a wire plant, by the way, and it's doing better than its predecessors who are deceased. So it looks really good. So yeah, this is the office. This is the room that I breathe in when I work. And the videos you'll see where you have to see my face, this is what's behind me. I collected snow and it's melting so I can water plants. As you will notice, I like plants. They're good to have around, and they give me something to do. They try to keep me out of trouble. But yeah, so that's the office. Thanks for watching.